Tracii, welcome to it. How the hell are you?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, just wonderful. It's just a pleasure. You get the red and the yellow and black treatment in the background here because
Yeah,
I
I've
was
seen
supposed to
that.
do this with Michael, but it's you because Michael had to cancel a week or so ago. So here you get the yellow and black for
Okay,
Striper.
I'm into it.
You're in a Christian metal band. Congratulations.
All right.
That's just what I always pictured for you.
Yeah, right. Me too.
By the time this airs here, this Sumbomb, the new album, Light Up the Sky, man, it's going to be out via Frontiers Records. Man, I'll tell you what, I love this album. I think this is a great natural progression for what you guys did before. Really epic feeling and really heavy. So, man, I know it's not out yet, but what's the reception been like so far from kind of people that have heard it and some of the other journalists out there? Like,
I mean, it's a metal record. It's like a proper early '80s, new wave British metal style. Kind of ultra uber heavy, and there's some nice doom on there, and people love it. People that like this kind of music like it. Other people probably wouldn't.
There you go. That's my review. I just sent it into Frontiers. I'm going to steal that. How did you and Michael? I know this kind of comes about because Frontiers is so good at putting together like-minded artists and creating this wonderful music. But did you and Michael was there a moment where you discovered like, hey, we have some of the same influences. We like some of the same things. And like, we really are dialed in on what we're feeling on this stuff, kind of dating back a few years.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Michael and I have known each other since really we became friends in 2018, which is hard to believe, but became friends, and our common ground really is early Van Halen. Like we really connected on that when we became friends, and because he's Michael's an amazing guitar player, and so we talked about that. But then we started getting into other stuff like early Scorpions and obviously Sabbath and all these very satanic bands, oddly enough. So what had happened was at some point Frontiers came to me and they said, hey, do you want to do a solo record? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want to play guitar for 45 minutes and just bore the hell out of myself. I go, but if I can find a singer that makes sense, then I'll let you know. And they go, oh yeah, see what you come up with. We're behind you all the way. So really, Sumbomb is my first kind of side project from LA Guns. Since LA Guns got back together, this was the first one. I've done other collaborations since, but Sumbomb is the one. And so anyways, I was writing this really heavy stuff, and it dawned on me, hey, wait a minute, Michael's into this really heavy stuff, and he's a Jesus guy and I'm a Satan guy.
I love it.
So let me run this idea past him, and I sent him an MP3 of one or two songs. I go, hey, you want to sing on these? He's like hell yeah, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. And it was that simple, really. It was easy to do because I can handle all the music. I got studio access here at the house, and Adam Hamilton, who does all my studio stuff, the drummer, and we have a really smooth flow. So all I got to do is come up with an arrangement, and then I get Adam to play drums, and then once I get drums back, I play all the instruments and I send it to Michael, and he does his thing, and bam.
I love it. That's Frontiers in a nutshell. You see so many great releases from artists that you would never see put together. I'm a big fan of so many different incarnations, like Black Swan's an amazing one that's kind of formed from this. Revolution Saints with Dean Castronovo. Like there's so many. And this one, I'm just so blown away. I got to talk about the title track, which is Light Up the Skies.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's kind of brought this up. I'm not any sort of musical savant. Don't call me Michael Jackson to my face. That song, I get like a very heavy, like Metallica meets Dio vibe, which is kind of interesting. Your first album together was Evil and Divine. This one kind of that Michael's voice and where it goes in the song kind of sounds kind of like The Last in Line to me from, and then like the intro almost has like a Metallica Unforgiven kind of thing. Am I way off on that?
No, you're not, because I mean, all those things you mentioned were, rip-offs of Diary of a Madman, and that's what I did. It's, I keep rewriting. Um, some guys use 12-bar blues riffs, and I just go right for the throat, and I go to the top of the metal chain, and that's Randy Rhoads, right? So, what it is the same riff as LA Guns put out our first single when we got back together, a song called Speed. And it's a really fast version of that riff, down, dan, 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 dan. And this is dan, 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 dan. It's the same riff, but I just play it with a different rhythm, a different thing. But it's the chord progression that's really important, which has this very dark, kind of almost gothic kind of feel about it. And then the other part, like the intro, there's a piece of music that Bert Jansch wrote called Angie. Oh, he didn't write it. He covered it. I forget the original guy's name right now. Angie. And it's kind of like, but it's on an acoustic, kind of a Celtic thing. And I slowed that down. Like the Bert Jansch version is almost like a rockabilly feel. It's got
Yeah.
but this is but it's really kind of lifted from this Bert Jansch guitar piece that I've been in love with my whole life, and it inserted so well into this big kind of Randy Rhoads theme piece of music. And then there's a whole middle section, which is, I had to completely orchestrate that with, I think there's like 4 or 5 different guitars going on doing different things. So for that one, it's just a big giant thing I've always wanted to put together. And I try to do that on every other record, try to come up with something just like.
How important is it for you that in this day and age that there's all these means, and Frontiers Records certainly provides that, to flex your creative muscle outside of your flagship band, of LA Guns? I mean, to be able to do a project that you're totally focused on, that you are writing, that you want to do. I mean, that wasn't really the case back in the 80s. You had to find, it's like you had to find a super group, you had to form Contraband, and that was
Right.
probably a lot of label influence. And so to be able to do this, like the gratifying, it's got to be off the charts gratifying.
Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I'm happiest when I'm creating, right? Like, that's what I do. I like to create bands. I like to create music with different elements of other people's talents that I can bring together to do something that's amazing. Like, the Blackbird Angels record I did with Todd Kearns and Adam Hamilton, that's another thing. It's not like Sumbomb. It certainly is heavy, but it's different, and then there's LA Guns, which kind of encompasses like all the things that I like. I'm able to do a little bit of everything with LA Guns, but these side projects are just really laser focused on specific types of metal, for lack of a better term. So, but with Sumbomb is really special because I have Michael, and love him or hate him, he's the best at what he does. You know what I mean? And there's, a lot of singers that style that are a lot bigger than him and all that stuff. They can't do what Michael can do.
Right.
Michael is like, to me, he is the king of opera metal. And it's such an honor to work with somebody I respect that much talent-wise.
Does it surprise you in any way that these projects, and that, not just speaking of Sumbomb, but a lot of these have become so popular and sell so well, and the videos take off, and that people are really into it, to the point where, we're sitting here asking like, hey, Dean Castronova, Revolution Saints, can you guys find time to tour together? Can you play shows? Like, does that surprise you?
I think they actually did.
They have before. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually have. Sumbomb, unfortunately, unless Stryper and LA Guns tour together,
which needs to happen.
Yeah, and people have been saying that for years, and Michael and I have been saying it for years, but then we have to struggle with agents and promoters and stuff, and they don't see it, so whatever. But that would be the best opportunity for us to do Sumbomb music, but other than that, it's really difficult to have a whole separate band. We live on separate coasts, and it's a big undertaking.
So you're back stateside most of the time these days, right? Or what's going on with you?
Uh, yeah, I'm here most of the time now. I still have my place in Denmark, and my little boy, he's just turned 4 years old over there, and so I'm trying to get back there probably in January, when things calm down, before the LA Guns record comes out in March. So after December, LA Guns won't be doing any shows between January
Right.
and mid-March. So then I'm going to go put my parka on and go to Denmark in the winter and go hang out with my kid for a while.
Well, do you see any more kids in the future? Rudolph Schenker had one at 70, so it's never too late.
My girlfriend has made it very clear that she doesn't want children. So there's no more children in the future. No
That's
more
my
babies.
kind of girl. I'm good with that. I'd like to hear that
I
up
love
front.
babies. That's my problem. I love babies. Babies, until they're about 6 or 7 years old. That whole process is just, there's nothing like it, man. I mean, but you have to appreciate that if you're going to do that, because it's a whole thing. All of a sudden, you're waking up at 5:30 every morning, and this was after the first 6 months. The first 6 months, you never sleep, but then
Right.
5-6 months in, you start getting a routine, kind of going to bed really early, waking up really early, and I like that. I like that routine. And of course, when you do that, there's no rock and roll happening. I'm not working. I did when Oli was born, my youngest son, because 2 weeks after he was born, Denmark went into full lockdown for the pandemic.
Right.
So, we're huddled up on the top floor of this little apartment in Denmark, and 8 flights of stairs, no elevator, with a baby. And everything's closed. Yeah, it was just wild. And so I was working then because there was really nothing, there was nothing to do.
Well, it's going to be a loaded summer for you. Of course, the Sumbomb album Light Up the Sky comes out June 28th, but you guys got a full slew of dates here for LA Guns, and you're going to be here. I'm in Kansas City, but you guys are going to be in St. Louis. That'll be the closest one at the Hawthorne on August 16th. And just again, LA Guns has become one of the most bankable acts of your era, let's call it, that is still performs at a high level. You guys have been ultra prolific since you rejoined, and you just announced back in May that you've signed a deal now with Cleopatra, I believe, in a new album in 2025. So
March.
What can we expect?
Record's done. It's off to Phil now to do his magic, and it's it's different than the other records. I mean, that's the thing about LA Guns is I never know what's going to come out. I don't know what mood I'm going to be in or whatever. But again, I'm really proud of what I was able to record, and all the, the management and Phil, and the guys they're freaking out. Like, where'd this shit come from? So yeah, I'm always most excited about LA Guns. It's the complete playground for me. I love it.
Well, it's just been, I've seen you guys so many times now since you returned, and like, it just, like I said, there's something about that energy. There's something about that chemistry that you have with Phil. And do you, I mean, obviously working with a guy like Michael remotely, you guys aren't playing shows. You haven't been in a band together since 1984,
Right.
So, but do you sense like any of that kind of chemistry, even though it's obviously way different, but just like how necessarily in person or just how you would be together, but just the idea of your voice matched up with his guitar and just like the magic of that and kind of how it is like that with Phil? Do you kind of feel that with Michael too?
I do. I do feel that because Michael and I, the one thing, like I said, that we really have in common is this love for this early 80s energy, and so, we played together a couple times. We just played Ain't Talking About Love by Van Halen, and it's great. Like we really get on that way. And so, yeah, and I think that I wouldn't really do a complete project with somebody I didn't feel like it wouldn't be great live, even though most of these things don't end up live. I'm a band guy, so I'm always thinking in terms of what does a band look like? What would that energy be like? So yeah, I could definitely see playing with Michael.
Well, Tracii, it's been a true pleasure every time we have you on. I just really appreciate it, and really excited about the new album. It is Light Up the Sky. It's up June 28th via Frontiers Records. Before I let you go, I got four final four drum roll, 4 quick hitters. You give us whatever comes to mind. We'll have some fun with it. Number 1, last concert you attended as a fan.
Oh my God. Surfrajettes. I saw the Surfrajettes here in Long Beach opening for who are they at with?
That's awesome.
Reverend Horton Heat. That was that was the last concert I went to. It was awesome.
That's sweet. Yeah, mine's the Beach Boys with John Stamos, and I will tell people that.
Stamos is a cool guy, man.
Yeah, I love it. It was great. The crowd went nuts. It was awesome. I don't care. Number 2, first album that you bought with your own money.
No Sleep Till Hammersmith, Motorhead.
That I don't. It's hard to come back from that. So good. That's such a good answer, and I'm such a fan. It's hard to. Okay, I'll come up with a third one here, I guess. Okay, you could play in an LA Guns set. You could play one solo from the new Sumbomb record during a guitar solo. What solo are you playing? From which song?
Oh, Light Up the Sky.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. I mean, I need 3 other guitar players to pull it off correctly, but now that you bring that up, now I'm going to try to do it.
You're welcome. Just use tapes for the other 2. Just layer it.
No.
Okay.
That comes up a lot in these recent interviews, by the way.
That is like a thing. It's like a buzzword. It's like I cover a lot of sports, and we have to always ask, because we are in Kansas City, so we have to always ask everybody about Taylor Swift. It's like you have to.
Nice.
Like, hey, so Taylor Swift, she's around. And it's like I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, and it's like I considered myself a real serious, like, I'm a sports guy. I like write about real, the offensive line and the defensive stuff. And it's like, I'm a Taylor Swift. That's it. I'm like TMZ Taylor Swift now.
Yeah. Well, it's like this, and you can steal this. Taylor Swift is such a winner that anybody she's rooting for is automatically a winner. So the Chiefs got it made right now.
I love it. I want that to continue on into eternity. Oh, what did I do to deserve this? Last question. You can play. I guess I think I already have the answer to this. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you answer it though. You could play one set with one band. You can replace their lead guitarist for one set, any band ever, and play one set live on stage with this band. Is it Van Halen? You're replacing Eddie. Are you killing Eddie?
No, I would be either killing John Christ or Jimmy Page.
Okay. Those
would be the 2.
I'll take it. Great answers.
I love the first 2 Danzig records.
That's awesome.
And I got the gig in 2005. Glenn wanted me to play guitar. I said okay, and it went through my agent. We had the same agent. And I go on the internet, and I was still doing my version of Brides of Destruction, and I had all these tour dates, and they were aligned with the Danzig dates. And I called the agent. I go, dude, you got to cancel all these dates if I'm going to do the Danzig stuff. Oh, I can't do that, bro. Oh. I'm like, why did you do this? And then Glenn, he had already gone out in press and said that I was playing guitar, and he got pissed. And so that kind